intro.
The timing's off for me.
Yeah, like timing's off. New building, new space. The air isn't like what we normally accustomed to because somebody had po' boy sandwiches.
I know. And
shout outs to Cam and Rome. It's smelling very Nolia in here.
French Quarter.
Yes. What did you say?
I don't know.
Baby. All right, what's up, everybody? I'm Mark Monroe, accompanied by my wonderful co-host, co-producer, and co-creator in all things galactic. Give it up for none other than the wonderful.
It's JolynGC and the place to be. What is it, cousins, on this fine Tuesday?
I know, right? So a lot has been going on. Like,
you'll have to fill me in because I have literally been checked out.
Are we on some Craig David vibes? Because clearly, someone.
Oh, I gotta keep my hands.
We gotta keep our hands.
No gesticulation.
Okay. All right.
No, that's a word. No gesticulation. That's gonna be hard. I talk with my hands.
I mean, feel free to. I'm just saying, just don't show the other side of the hand.
Oh, the palm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Palms up. All right. So we've had a lot going on, Jolyn. For example, we had really.
There's been a lot going on.
I know, just, right? Like, you know, tariffs were on, and now tariffs are like quasi off.
Where's the 90-day truce?
All right.
Well, it says it, but
we've talked about this whole brakemanship thing, so clearly. Let's see, earnings did very, very well. Like, we saw majority of your tech earnings, they were solid, stellar, of course. You know what's so interesting though? What? And shout outs to Bar Chart for noticing this.
Good old Bar Chart.
I know, right?
What's up, Bar Chart? How y'all doing?
What's good, y'all?
What's going on?
We got to talk about September things. Okay, so like the number one thing that was talked about above AI was tariffs. So tariffs like literally dwarfed AI in the entire earnings conversation.
Which is interesting.
Exactly. So it's not like we weren't ready for this.
Right.
Like, you know, we definitely gave some episodes before. So if you paid attention to the episodes and actually executed, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. I mean, Nvidia had dropped below $100.
I saw that.
I know.
I saw that.
How are you in estimation? Are y'all good?
We're fine.
Okay, all right. You know, it's a little rough patch in April, but
you know, we're on the right track. You know, like I really do see good things for us.
I mean, shout outs to counseling.
We've been doing we've been in therapy.
Y'all been putting in the work.
Healing work. You know, and I think it's really gonna work.
Okay.
You know, this time around.
Okay.
You know, I think it will be like the kind of like our honeymoon phase. You know what I mean? Like I think we're getting back to that.
Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna have to fill me in because clearly this would be on this. All right, so if you guys haven't noticed yet, we're checking out some new digs here.
Well, not even checking out. Like
we're fully like sponsored.
So there's, like I said, there's been so much going on. So we're currently at FTC, which is From the Culture, which is the parent company of the Come Up series. So we're currently at FTC's headquarters, new headquarters. In a secret, undisclosed location. I'm just kidding. We're downtown, y'all. We are downtown. And you know, we're right by the water. Like literally, you can see the water.
We're 2 blocks away from the water.
Yeah,
like,
you can see the water.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nice. And I do think we're gonna do our best to do Tuesday shows.
Yes.
In person, like the both of us. So
I know, right? Like
coming down to the studio.
This energy is like a whole different type of energy.
It is.
Now, you never know. The environments may change. So
yeah, because there's a lot to choose from. Like right now, you know, this is just our
testing.
Yeah, we're just testing out like how things are setting up, like the equipment, the lighting. I said lighting.
We're a little rusty. Like,
well, yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, but yeah, so we're just testing some things out. And you know, don't worry, we will have a nice background, a nice studio background. But right now, y'all are getting these plants. Okay,
I mean,
check out the foliage.
I mean, look, it ain't raining. So look, for all y'all that say, does it rain a lot in Seattle? No,
it rains more in New York.
Exactly.
Inches per year, honestly.
Exactly.
We just have like that fizzly rain. So
I mean, we have the rain just enough to keep everything green.
Speaking of,
yes.
Okay, so we're back to earnings.
Yeah, so earnings,
everything green,
everything revenue generating conversations.
Right.
So everything was pretty much super duper dope, as we expected. We saw blockbuster earnings from most of your tech companies. I mean, hell, AMD, 36% revenue growth. Nvidia, they haven't reported yet, but I mean, we know where this is going.
Yeah, I expect good things for Nvidia.
Apple, solid earnings. Microsoft, solid earnings.
Solid earnings. Did you hear that they're cutting back 3%?
Yeah, they're well. I mean, think about it. Like
their workforce.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was. Excuse me. I think that was kind of expected.
Like trimming fat, or
they're trimming the management role positions. Okay. So I think that what they're doing is probably getting rid of some of the redundancy. So, which makes sense. I mean, but if you were laid off, that's very unfortunate. So, sorry. Let's see here. Tesla. Allegedly, Elon's coming back to work.
Oh, really now?
And it's back, and it's trading back above 300. So, I think Trump found religion and realized, like, right before those ships docked with that 145%, it's like, this may not be the move. Honestly, everything is going according to the plan, Jolene.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs, didn't they increase their target for the S&P 500?
Yes, they did. I think everybody's going to start raising their targets back now that we see that this, which is interesting though, these 90-day like hold-offs take us to the next earnings period.
Yeah, the timing is quite suspicious.
It's questionable.
It's suspicious though. Like,
that's not suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Next you know, surprise, surprise.
Wait, if I could do that, you know how the guy does the leg?
Yes.
Have you seen that? I can't do it. And if I could, I wouldn't.
So, I mean, everything is going according to expected. I actually posted on Twitter. I think that we are in a recession right now. Did
you check the data? The two... Oh, wait, we are. I saw the chart. We are. I saw that chart.
So
negative.
Exactly. So
negative GDP growth, guys.
Yeah. So essentially, you're seeing slowdown. You're seeing contraction. Of course, with tariffs, it even brings the contraction even further. I mean, even with the administration cutting like their tariff targets in half, that still contracts because, of course, companies have to still adjust. So, and then of course the state of the consumer. The interesting thing, like for example, Coachella goers, what was it? 80% of them bought it on buy now, pay later.
Wow. See, I didn't even peep that.
Yeah.
So I wonder how those companies are doing, because you got, what is it? Buy now, pay later.
Klarna,
Affirm, Afterpay.
Yep. And then I think maybe PayPal and Amazon's now in bed with all of them for services. Buying, I guess, products on Amazon. So I'm sure that like in the midst of a recession, I think that they do well because of the fact that the interest rates. Of course, Donald Trump is trying to get Jerome Powell to cut on rates, which could have an impact. But I think Jerome is just like, look, it didn't start with me. It ain't gonna end with me. Look, not my business, not my problem, not my occupation.
But the thing though is, okay, if we're going to have, what does that even look like? If we have increased tariffs, I mean, granted, we're on this 90-day truce or whatever, with China at least. But if we have increased tariffs, then the interest rate is dropped. Like, what is that? What type of environment does that produce for the consumer?
It eases the tensions for the consumer.
Yeah.
So essentially, like when you drop interest rates, it kind of forces banks to get out there and like spend or to release cash. And so when cash gets released to the market, cash becomes cheap. And so essentially, when you do that, it literally like it's a stimulator to the economy. It's like the economy gets an adrenaline shot. So small businesses get better looks as it pertains to financing. Consumers get better looks as it pertains to financing. You probably may see credit scores like take a slight bump up. Also,
but what are those wages doing though? See, that's the problem.
That's a whole nother.
Because this, to me, this sets up a trap. Like if you're not, quote unquote, financially responsible, and you're taking out loans because the interest rates are cheaper, and then it's allowing you to, you know, have more purchasing power, so to speak. But then jobs aren't jobbing right now. And then if you also, you know, fall behind, or, you know, an emergency happens, it really is a disaster. Like, waiting to happen.
Yeah, I think your average household is one emergency away from disaster.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, do you have to go to that Kendrick Lamar concert? I mean, you kind of do, but you just, well, at least I have to. I don't know about you, Mark. Anyway, you know, but Mark's not going. That's why I'm talking trash. But
love you, Erica.
I'll be there in full effect. But no,
she's gonna FaceTime me to be petty.
But I'm saying, you know, just all I'm saying, because it's like, you know, keep it cute, keep it, you know, level and responsible.
So let's talk about the blueprint as it pertains to like being able to move forward in this economy, because of course, like things can change on the dime. Especially since we're like, here's the thing that a lot of people are not talking about though, that they should be talking about, is one, so we have this 90-day pause, but we have no deals finalized. So there's no trade deals that have been finalized. So at any point in time, China or the US can walk away, and essentially we're back on to where we once were.
So that's uncertainty, and the market doesn't like uncertainty.
That is correct. And so then we also have the issue as it pertains to, you know, a lot of companies that are just like they're stuck in the market, that, you know, they want to give investors and their stakeholders guidance, but they can't because there's nothing really set in stone. So it's kind of like traders today, like literally trying to like trade on technical analysis. And Donald Trump just like literally says, okay, screw your technical analysis.
But then what ends up happening is when companies can't give good guidance, or guidance is a little shaky, then that brings the stock down.
Yes.
So it's this vicious cycle of, you know, what's happening. If it's not stable, if there's not some type of North Star, so to speak, then we end up not really knowing what the destination is. And that's where the market, you'll experience all the volatility and everything. So you kind of have to think
we're going to have that
long-term.
anyways. Yeah, we're going to have some volatility moving up, because now that we're coming out of earnings period, and now it's like, it's just a matter of like, here's the playbook. If you're focused within the tech space, we're going to really see a lot of developers conferences. And so that's going to be very interesting to see what the focus on software looks like, or what cycles look like. So we got WWDC conference from Apple. We got Meta's conference. We got Google's I/O. We got, I think Microsoft has a conference. Amazon's conference is a little bit later in the year. I think Nvidia already had one. And then of course we have like other things like mobile. Well, I think Mobile World Congress has already happened. But I mean,
and we also have the Wealth, Innovation, and Tech Summit.
That's in September, yeah. So
I'm sorry, I mixed up all those.
I know, but I mean,
the Tech, Innovation, and Wealth Summit.
I mean, ours is more lit than a developers conference, but I get it.
But it's on the horizon, so I wanted to put that on the record.
Yeah.
I need a sound effect.
So yeah, so there's a lot there that like literally for investors they're gonna have to digest.
Yeah.
And what they're gonna be looking for is they're gonna want to know, are companies slowing down their innovation because of tariffs and uncertainty? If innovation slows down, then no matter what's happening in Washington, investors are going to probably get spooked by that. I mean, there are some companies where we don't really expect very much from them this year. Like we may not even see there's a slight chance that we may not even see a new iPhone this year.
I think it would be prudent to not have a new iPhone this year.
Personally, I think that Apple should go back to not doing iPhones every year. I think that they should do it when they actually hit significant iteration cycles.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, don't just put out a new phone just because, you look at the calendar. And
it feels like they're just racing up against the calendar to just reproduce something. Now, don't get me wrong, there's innovation inside the device, making it more efficient and everything else.
But that wow factor, that one more thing.
They should really treat their devices kind of like how they do, like, you know, significant changes in MacBook lineups and stuff like that. So if anybody that works at Apple happens to be paying attention, send a message and say, hey, like, or just send them this video clip and say, hey, you do not have to make an iteration this year. It's okay. You got a lot to work on. Like, for example, your AI needs work. The phone has been pretty solid for, I think, at least 5 solid iterations by now.
Yeah, I'm happy with this one. This is the latest.
You know, I mean, a thinner iPhone or, you know, it's like,
this is pretty thin. Look at this.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, we're at the point where it's like a little bit unnecessary now. So with that being said, I think that ultimately some companies should just fall back as it pertains to their iterative cycle and focus on next year being a major iterative cycle. I mean, because really we're at this year where it's like, I would hate to release a product this year that's groundbreaking, but then ultimately the geopolitical, that part, the fact that the consumer is ultimately still hurting. 2, there's defaults are at a high. So not only just credit defaults, but also auto loan defaults and pretty soon home loan defaults. They're all climbing. So it's really like if a person has to choose between keeping their lights on or keeping a roof over their head or going to buy a new iPhone.
Dang, that'd be tough.
And so that's what I'm saying. It's like this year, I don't think that we need it. And essentially you don't need the headlines that are coming out of Washington to also take your thunder.
I mean, to me, this would be the perfect time for kind of like, you know, heads down, you know, vibe at all tech companies right now.
Acquire some things.
Acquire some stuff.
You got
work some new hella cash. Work on the innovation and then wow us next year.
Exactly.
Give us something to look forward to.
If I was Apple, this would be my playbook if I was CEO. I would focus purely on software this year. I would just focus on software. And then in the background, I'm focusing on groundbreaking products. So then that way next year, foldable phones, I'd like to see a foldable iPhone or Apple device.
Okay.
I'd like to see another iteration of a Vision device. So without the ridiculous price tag, but essentially like show us the lineup. And since you're focusing on software this year, you could focus on, say, for example, the entire ecosystem that you're starting to build around these new devices. Honestly, I don't really think that there's anything really left for the iPhone because it's already a perfected product. We're just really talking about chip upgrades at this point. And I mean, the chip is already good. So I would also focus on like Apple probably even focusing more on its content because after they've been doing very well with the TV show Severance.
Oh my gosh.
They need to they need to make another investment in something like that. So again, like they have so many pieces that they can like just reinvest those dollars into without having to focus so heavy on just another heavy duty release this year, or maybe even introduce something, but say, okay, it's coming out in 2026.
I like the tease. A little teaser action.
You know, we can use a little tease. I mean, hell, Marvel does it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, in Grand Theft Auto, come on.
Still waiting.
I guess I'm not.
I mean, I'm not waiting.
I guess I'm not going to be on break this year because honestly, had Grand Theft Auto came out in May, I'm sorry, come up serious. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I mean, but I guess I got to wait a whole another 365 days in order for this to happen. And see, that's the point, though. See, people are still going to wait for the next Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out.
Yes, that's the whole thing. People are going to wait.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Where are they going?
Not to the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Yo.
Apparently. Just kidding. Did I mention I'm going?
Okay.
I couldn't resist. Anyway.
I could be petty and just show up. I could, but you know.
Okay.
All right. Anyway. So let's talk about something else though, Jolyn. Because well, let's talk about the fact that I posted something on Twitter and I asked.
Let me pull this up. What did you post on Twitter?
Oh, you don't be following me like that?
I mean, I haven't been on social media in a minute. Okay.
Oh.
Calm down. Calm down. Let me see.
It's weird seeing her feed.
No, there are some shenanigans.
There's a lot. Look, even Instagram.
But it's not even my feed though. It's people I don't follow.
I know, right? What's up with that?
Okay.
So
which
I posted. Go back. Go to this one. No, the next. Go down. That one. the poll.
Okay.
So I did a poll.
Okay, so who won the game of economic brinkmanship? Remember the day before it got real, the first 145% tariffs are waiting at the dock? So who won? And your options are USA, China, and I don't know.
So let's break that down because the first ships that were at the 145% tariff, they were docking.
Yes.
Like they were arriving at the port. Like California were like, okay, like look, bring it in. And then all of a sudden, the very next day, it's like, we're gonna take a 90-day break.
What is that, the remix?
So I guess the question is who won the brinkmanship? Because I remember I said, you know, I don't think that this is where we're gonna end up.
Right.
I strongly believe that we're gonna be between 10 to 30% marker. I still believe like 25% is probably like the 25% is the sweet spot.
Yeah, I think there was that gap, but was it the 30%? There was something.
They're at 30%, and then China came in at 24%, I think.
Okay. I just remember there was a gap.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting because we heard a lot of the news coming out of the USA first. And then China was just like, yeah, we agree.
Yeah, but see, to me, that seems like that's where the power is.
Well,
you know?
Yeah.
Where you can just be like, yeah, that's cool.
So do you think that essentially, like, I sometimes wish I was a fly on this wall, like in these conversations, and just be like, you know, I wonder how this trade negotiation is going about, because like, are we just like waiting till the 9th hour and be like, perhaps we should walk it back?
I mean, I would like to think there's this grand plan, strategy, multiple people thinking about it, heads down, laptops open, computers open, you know, people running back and forth, you know, the hubbub, all the action. That's happening, but that's what I would like to think is happening, that there is some, you know, grand plan and strategy. But it really does feel, this is what it feels like to me. This is what it feels like. I think we have a guest. I think that's why he's calling. One of our partners he told me he was coming here today, so I think he's probably downstairs.
Oh.
Yeah. He said he was coming.
To be on the show?
No, I think he's checking something out.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, anyway, side conversations. But what were we talking about?
Okay, so you were talking about like the plan.
Yeah, so it looks like, well, at least it feels like that's happening, like where there is not a plan. And it's kind of like, well, let's see, let's wait 90 days. See, I told you someone was here.
Oh.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'll just tell you right now. So it looks like we're waiting like 90 days, right? But during that 90-day time, you're looking at the market, you're seeing what impact Trump's words have. And then it's like, okay, now that the market went down, let me do a little something. Let me shake a little telfer. Let me do a little something for the market right quick, and then have it go back up. And it's like this push pull back and forth. And to me, it feels like they're playing in our face. That's what it's like.
I think, man, I'm about to give away some spoilers to my upcoming episodes.
Butter's right here, guys. But you could just go in more depth. So
yeah, I'll definitely go in more depth.
In the spoilers.
All right, so here's where I think it's going. I think that ultimately you're cutting in governmental departments as it pertains to like cutting back on all the money that's going out and preparing that for tax cuts, because if not, you're gonna have to raise the
tax cuts for who? Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, so essentially what's going to happen is all those cuts come right back, because of the fact is we're going to raise the debt ceiling to $4 trillion.
Yes. That's happening.
And then on top of that, the trade, as it pertains to the revenue that comes in, ultimately possibly hit somewhat of the shortfall that we need to make up, that we probably won't.
Okay.
And then essentially you need the Fed to cut rates in order for that bill to be a lot cheaper to pay back.
So it seems like then all roads are leading back to the Fed.
Yes.
Like, so the point is, we do all this stuff in the market, you know.
Stay strong, Jerome. Right. Stay strong.
Stay strong, brother. But then it's all to put pressure on the Fed so that the rates drop. And then the narrative with that is, see what I did, America? Look what I did for you all.
Yeah, I think that that's ultimately where the roads lead. I think that the roads lead there. I think that honestly, it's like that's going to be the final nail in the coffin. And then essentially, I do believe that Jerome is going to probably end up in cut. Okay. I strongly believe that that's going to happen. I just don't know if he's going to go. I don't think that he's going to cut aggressively, but he will cut.
He's going to dip a little toe.
I mean, however he has to do what he has to do, it's coming, and I think that we'll probably start to see Jerome's first cut. If not July, we probably may see it August.
You think he would cut in the summer?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the latest he'll probably cut by is September. But yeah, a cut is on the horizon. Yeah. You can only withstand it for so long.
Yeah.
And then essentially it's like, you don't want to like hold out too long for things to break. And then there's things that are just beyond your control. So yeah, there's a lot there. Okay. So with that being said, so what we just saw was we saw the walk back from the brinkmanship. So now the cousins are going to probably ask like, okay, hey Mark, what's the next? What do you foresee coming next? I think the S&P 500 is going to try to go back up to challenge those highs.
I think it's going to as well. It makes sense because if there's this pullback, with so like we have good earnings, right?
Yep.
So the only reason why the market is really experiencing all this volatility is because of the talk around tariffs, right?
Yep.
So if that cools down, and then also in July, the Fed, drops the rates, the market has no other, the S&P 500, the path is clear to take back off.
Well, I think so. I think the reason why it becomes a more speculative market is because when you drop below 20% in the market, right? When you fall that low, and then when you come back above it, then essentially that's the start of a new bull market.
Right.
So essentially we saw a bull market end, allegedly. And then essentially we allegedly saw another bull market start.
Okay, but you were saying earlier that we're in a recession right now.
We are.
So do you see...
You can still have bull markets. You can still see bull markets start even in the midst of a recession. So sometimes what we've seen historically is that even in the midst of a recession, the bull market sometimes starts in between. Or sometimes even though that we're in a recession, it's still not indicative as pertains to what's happening in the general overall market.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised. And the reason why I wouldn't be surprised is because look at all those companies that did not adjust their earnings to the downside or their guidance to the downside. If they were, then they would have ultimately just ripped the Band-Aid off, just literally taken the hit, especially since the market was already starting to recover during earnings. So then those companies could have afforded to take the hit as it pertains to the stock, literally do a stock buyback. So they're buying up the shares to get it back for the cheap.
Right.
And then essentially from there, just wait for everybody else to step back in when they've, sandbagged their earnings. So I think that what they did was they slightly sandbagged by not really giving you any guidance. And essentially now that they didn't give you guidance, now the next move is that, okay, hey, given that we didn't give you guidance, then there's really no benchmark as it pertains to where our success and where our failures are.
But does the lack of guidance, I don't think that equates to sandbagging.
Really?
No, because I feel like if you sandbag, you literally are saying you're making it look terrible. Yeah, but if you're not saying anything, you're leaving room for just a little bit of mystery.
Yeah, that's like saying like, okay, so sandbagging is like, okay, for example, in this arena, shout out to all my spades players because you're going to understand this. So in spades, you can literally sandbag and say, okay, hey, I'm going to bet like, let's say $3 when you know that you got 5 strong ones in your hand. And then that's a sandbag. But then saying, for example, okay, we're going to go blind. we're going to bid blind. There's no real, it's a sandbag because you know you're about to win this hand. But at the same time, and you're just looking to set the other player.
Okay, well, in my mind, there needs to be like explicit.
Don't play against me in spades, y'all.
Anyway, like explicit calling of,
hey,
we're not going to do well. So prepare and buckle up, as opposed to, we're not going to really say too much.
We're gonna run from now until like mid-June. June 15th. I think that we're going to run between now and June 15th. And then essentially we're going to need, the market is going to need some type of confirmation. It's going to need some type of confirmation, because right now the market is just only moving off of a catalyst that we're getting 90-day pauses. That's not going to be enough after a while. Like, the market gave you this one. I promise you, if you give another 90-day, the market is not going to accept that. The market is not going to accept that. We've been through this before. The whole kicking the can down the road and everything else. I promise you that is not going to work. That could literally reset the market, and the market ultimately says, you know what? And it's not even emotional. It's just that, hey, you're not giving us enough information to really run off of, and you're not giving us any reason to essentially be a buyer in any more equities. Like, you still have some folks out there that are saying short US equities and buy Europe, buy China, buy other developing markets, versus buying US equities, which is, I mean, hello, we're lit here. So yeah, I think that honestly June 15th is going to be a put up or shut up moment for the US equity base bid. And for the administration, where they're going to have to show. Now, allegedly, they're saying that when he gets back from Saudi Arabia, now notice also, Saudi Arabia now has 18,000 Nvidia AI chips that are headed their way.
Yep.
Now, do you think that Saudi Arabia is going to hold on to all 18,000 of those chips?
I think they're going to hold on to it for now. But if once it, I mean, look, that's 18,000
AI chips from Nvidia, the brand new ones, brand spanking new.
If I was them, I would hold on to it, create scarcity, and then let it go.
There is no scarcity, though. There's Nvidia is going to still keep producing. You know, look, we all know. I mean, we all know what's about to go down. Look, that's true. What did I tell y'all from day one since the moment that he got elected?
Yeah.
Run the play. Yeah. 2025 is the year of run the play. Those chips are going to go from U.S. to Saudi Arabia, from Saudi Arabia back to China. US. Oh, no, that's China? Going to China.
Okay. So then you think China's going to hold them all?
Listen, look. We've already restricted China from having our best AI chips, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're waiting. They're like,
listen, this supply chain.
No,
look,
I thought you were writing something.
This supply chain has gotten very interesting. So I strongly believe that essentially that, maybe Saudi Arabia will hold on to maybe 5,000 of them. But I mean,
if they're buyers.
And China would be a buyer.
Yeah.
Unilateral trade agreement or trade deal.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
We don't have to stay tuned. So we're looking at June 15th.
June 15th. I'm literally marking it as okay, hey, the market okay. It's not the hard deadline for June 15th, but I say that June 15th is the real start to where people need to actually have some type of solid data, some solid information.
Yeah, it can't just be all on vibes.
Because if we go through this period of okay, hey, from now until June 15th, and we're just hearing this back and forth,
that's going to be tiring.
The market is already exhausted,
and it'll already be summer anyway.
Right. The market is exhausted, and then on top of that, we're still back within the schedule as it pertains to hey, Wall Street goes on vacation.
Yeah.
So now you're going to find in a low volatility market, in a low volume market, which may create volatility, which therein will also create sell-offs, and we sell off on low volume. I mean, don't get me wrong, buying opportunity. Shout out to y'all. But in the grand scheme of things,
shout out to SMH.
I'm just saying, shout out to TQQQ, but all jokes aside, people, I know that we had a lot of just conversation, more dialogue basis. I mean, normally we do maybe a presentation here and there, but I feel everybody's beyond baby food. I think that this is more like dinner time conversation when you're sitting there, you're or you're having your rebuttals, have at it. But I honestly believe that given all the things that have transpired now, we got to start looking at it from the standpoint of asking the question, well, what if the trade deal falls apart? What if there is no trade deal? What if the trade deal that finalizes like literally puts a sour taste in people's mouths and saying that, okay, hey, you didn't have to go through this tariff war with all these countries in order to get to these percentages as it pertains to like in order to get to these deals and everything else. You could have had these conversations by like unilaterally sitting down with all these different countries and saying, hey, these are our objectives. Can we work together?
Yeah, we didn't need this show.
Right. And I think that ultimately puts a sour taste in a lot of other countries, you know, in their taste buds, in the sense of saying that, okay, hey, well, how do we look at the United States now?
Right.
You know,
it makes us look
foolish. Did we really have to go through this process? Did we have to go through this song and dance in order to get here? Probably not. So, like, think about it. We went from 145% to 30%.
That's drastic. So, how?
And notice how every time we're close to a deadline, it gets pushed back.
Yep. Yeah, TikTok is still here.
Has anybody bought it yet?
No.
And you know why they're not going to buy it? Like, they may buy the product, but they won't own the algorithm.
No.
So what's the point? Like, what was the whole point of this?
To mess with my emotions.
To make everybody go on Red Note or whatever it was.
I'm still there, but I'm not active.
Yeah, I had to delete my account.
I was there.
I was not.
I don't pay attention to it now, but
look,
I also don't really pay that much attention to
TikTok. You better take that off your phone. Look, that data leak.
Oh, that might explain. Do you know how many spam likely calls I get?
No.
A lot. Somebody leaked my info, yo, for real.
Did they ask for your phone when you signed up?
No. I don't know what happened. All I know is that I'll be getting these spam calls. Okay, watch. When we go offline, when we shut down, I'll probably have some.
You better get that Truecaller app.
I need to get a burner phone, but carry on.
I got one if you need one.
I do need one. Which model is it?
Don't worry about it. You think I'm gonna just tell my business?
I need it.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I need one.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so now let's look towards, like, here's my projection going towards year end.
Okay.
And I'll keep. I think that we're gonna probably go. I think we're gonna hit 6,500 before the year's out.
On S&P 500.
On S&P 500.
Okay, so remember in the beginning of the year that number was in, what was it, 5,600? Is that what you said, or did you say 58?
No, it was 65, 6,800.
No, not in the beginning of the year. Are you sure? We're gonna have to roll the tape.
Hey, look, check me, y'all. Look,
fact check it, because I don't remember.
Our Combo cousins are better than Grok. We got this.
I don't remember it being that high.
There's a whole YouTube thumbnail where I put 6,800 on there.
Oh wait, yes. Okay, my bad. No, in my mind I'm thinking 5,800. That's why. Whatever. Yeah, I see we're going there. I see it.
All right, so yeah, I think that we're gonna go to 6,500, and I think that we could possibly make it. Okay, if June 15th, if we cross back June 15th, and everything is copacetic, and they're able to come to a deal.
Okay.
Market rips.
All right, so that just means
market rips, but also the market's going to want to know what the deals look like in Canada and EU and UK. Well,
we
already know,
so we already saw that.
But EU and Canada.
Well,
exactly.
Okay, so bottom line is the play then is to
run the play.
Well, get into position.
Yes.
Just get ready. So get in position.
Yep.
Pay attention to what's happening on June 15th.
Because aren't we at like 5,800, close to 5,900 in the S&P 500 right now?
Well,
I haven't been looking at the, I think we have the tickers down at the bottom, so they got it.
Yeah, they can see it, but I can't see that far.
So.
Yeah, we're over.
Well, see, look at that. We're close to 5,900. So if we cross 6,000.
If we cross 6,000.
My left stroke just went viral.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, so if we cross 6,000, we're outside. We're outside.
Yeah. Okay.
If we drop down to if we drop below 5,600,
it's gonna be hard climbing back up then. So support needs to be at what?
Like so we're at 58. We're at 58.85. So I would probably say a strong support is probably like 57.50 is the first line. Then let's say just hardline numbers, because clearly I'm not looking at any chart.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna probably say 56.25, 56.50.
Okay.
Is gonna like in those tranches. Because what I noticed is during those time frames we saw some interesting gaps as it pertains to buying. Oh, okay. They're doing some construction.
We got construction.
Look, there's a whole lot happening. Shout outs to the labor temple, but there's some things that are happening here. Yeah. So, but if we cross 6,000, and if we hold 6,000, then essentially the market's going to say, okay, hey, well, what's really stopping us from going from 6,000 to
6,800?
Well, 6,500. And if we cross 6,500, then because keep in mind, I don't think that we may not have a correction in August and September.
Okay.
Keep in mind, because we just dropped 20% earlier this year in April. So it's rare that you actually find yourself having two major corrections in the same year.
Yeah. Well,
you may get a 5% pullback, but then outside of that, it's just like, okay, hey, like
that's in the context of the geopolitical front remaining at least like this.
Yes.
Foundational.
More so in the sense that we need to start closing deals.
Right.
And also resetting.
But I'm saying not this back and
forth. And honestly, like, the side comments and all that other stuff, like, nah, we ain't with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean there's things to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, we'll get more into it because I definitely have some episodes where I want to go in depth. I'm actually filming this week.
Good for you. I'll be on vacation, but Mark will be filming. Okay. It's like the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Bye, Felicia. Bye.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. She's not. Like, absolutely not. But I mean, yeah. So there's some new episodes that are coming out for me where I'm going further into detail. That's why it's kind of hard for me to get honed in.
Because you really do need a full episode.
I need a full episode to sit down and explain my story and everything else.
So
go through my whole dissertation. Go through my dissertation. I also need to go through deliberation.
Okay, transformation.
I've already done that. Okay. I'm in my celestial stage right now.
Okay, celestial. Okay.
Here, look.
All right.
Success texted me last night. You know what it said?
What did it say?
You up?
Yeah. I
can't. Okay. Anything else? Prediction. Watch Nvidia. Shout outs to Nvidia at 130, 135.
Okay, so just on the come up series front now. So we will have new episodes dropping.
Yes.
And so be on the lookout for that.
No chaser.
Yeah. So Wealth Rituals is in its mid-season pause.
And then my season activates now.
Yeah. So we're pausing for a little bit. We will return. But we just have to part of the thing is we have rollouts of other shows, and so that's what we're doing. But rest assured, all episodes for Wealth Rituals, they're filmed. And
we just solidified the location for the summit.
Oh yes, we did. So the summit.
Should we tell them right now?
I mean, let's tell them a little bit since we already brought it up. So we're confirming the dates.
I ain't showing no leg right now.
You don't want to show any. Okay, so Mark is being shy and modest, but just know that we are definitely having the summit. It's definitely going down in Seattle.
It might be here
once again, and the location will be beautiful. And we have plenty of creative ideas, and also just the caliber of people will be, of course, it's gonna be a good time. So
September 18th through the 21st.
Yes, those are the dates. Trust us, you're gonna want to be there.
I mean, they saw what we did last year.
They did. Well, some of y'all.
Oh yeah, CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
How are they doing right now?
I haven't even checked on them. Somebody needs to check on them.
No, you know who needs to be checked on? United Health.
Okay, see, we trying to end the show. Mark's already bringing up other stuff.
Who, Too Petty? Oh, come on. Like, you've been talking about Kendrick Lamar. I've been taking all these heat. Okay. Look,
anyway, y'all make sure you look up what's happening with United Health. But anyway, yeah, so September is the time to remember.
Yes. So go ahead and start setting up your flight situation and everything else.
18th through the
21st.
Wait, the 21st is what day? Is that
a
Saturday?
I think that's a Sunday.
Are you sure? We'll have to look on the calendar, but the 18th is Thursday.
What day does September 21st fall on?
Is she gonna answer on time?
Sunday.
Okay, so yes, the Thursday through the Sunday. You want to put that in your calendar right now because it is about to go down.
Yeah, we got to get up off this episode because essentially they're getting ready to probably do some.
We got partners in the office right now. We got to go. But
we got a lot of stuff going on because we got to get onto some planning, especially for the summit.
Yeah.
But in next episode that we do, we'll discuss more in detail, even also possibly even share some links with y'all. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
cool.
We love a good link here and there. Yeah.
All right. Well, now that construction is really telling us it's time to go.
All right. They try to hold on for dear life, and now it's like, okay, hey.
But we have some, build outs going on.
I can't wait for y'all to see them. All right. So until next time, I'm Mark Monroe.
And I'm JolynGC, in the place to be.
And this has been your come up. We will see you in the next one. Until then, bye. Oh no, I can't reach it.